What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live show Thursday with Go Rope Garage. You guys know what's going on. You know what's happening. If you are here to talk about tuning. And it's snowing again. So much snow. Just snow, snow, snow. I see Stefan's here and Andrew so far. And the rest are starting to come on in. And we start a little bit early. Start about 6 minutes early. We keep on starting this trend of starting early. What up, Sand? What up, Schmidt? What is going on? El Chevy Flores. Shane? Tell me what's new, folks, because there's nothing really new here, to be honest with you. Hey, Steve. Waiting on seatbelts, replacement seatbelts for the Superado, so we can get the Superado ready to sell. We're going to sell the Superado. What up, DIY? It is very cold. It was -5 degrees this morning. Brutal. Keep rubbing it in, Andrew. Keep rubbing it in. Yep. So as I said, we're getting the Superado ready to sell. Get it out of here. Dang right, Super Boost weather. If the roads were anything that you could actually get the Super Boost down on, though, you did get the shifter. I'll be anxious to see who gets the Terminator. The Terminator X. Be drawing that probably not this weekend. Probably do that next weekend. What up, Moto? Snowing in cold northeast Wisconsin, SK says. When is it not snowing in cold northeast Wisconsin? Selling the Superado. Why? To make room. Got too many cars. Need to let go of something. Yeah, exactly. Room in the garage for another toy. Always looking for another toy. Sweet. Helping out with the C10. Kind of swap you got going on with it. What up, Tommy? Doing a first boosted tune here in a month. Just take your time. Don't get into boost too soon. Yeah, we'll focus some on the vet. Maybe find something else to do. Hey, Jason. Always up for new challenges. Just have to wait and see. Hey, Mobile. Just have to wait and see. That's the fun of all this. I've got some ideas of what I want to do. I've got to work on Smoke Monster this weekend. Got to. Which means I need a fire heater up in the garage, so it's a little bit warm down there, so I can at least get down there and not have my fingers freeze off. 2012 Yukon 6.2, do I need 2 or 1 AFM for tuning? I'm guessing you mean wide bands. Just 1, Steve. Are twin screws harder to tune than a turbo? Generally, no. So, Shane, get a Copo. No, superchargers generally are a little bit easier to tune than turbos because they're more predictable since they're RPM based. You know, if a turbo has good boost control on it, which most people don't do good boost control because it costs a lot of money to not get you that much out of it other than consistency. And we're looking, you know, most times we're looking for power and less about consistency. We just want to make sure that we're consistent on the tune side. But, you know, you might have some stuff flopping around a little bit more with the turbo. 598 does put out fair whack of heat, especially in the summertime. About to finish up a turbo Trailblazer SS this weekend if it does snow. I mean, it's all-wheel drive. Who cares if it snows? Just picked up a 69 Dodge Coronet with a 440. Putting a Holly Sniper on it. Has 410 gears. But want to have more cruising on the interstate. What do you guys suggest? Ditch the 410s. 410s are racing gears. What transmission does it have in there, Bill? Hey, Omar. Dude, I feel you. Fifth gens are it's going to get a little bit even more wonky in a bit, man. Our gear vendors. Yeah, I mean, even with the gear vendors with 410s, I mean, we'll be better on the interstate, but it's not going to cruise. Got my flex fuel sensor installed on my 6th gen Camaro. I uploaded the flex fuel tune. It shows 5.5 to 5.9% ethanol content. I added a gallon of fuel and shortly went up to 16.9. Am I good to go? Should be, Jesse, as long as you used a base file that has the correct AFR scaling in it, should be good. Yeah, I know. You think the neighbors hate cam trucks. My neighbors love it whenever I fire the Nova up. Ah, gotcha. That makes sense. I have a 68 300 with a 440. Needs a gear, has a 271 now. Sweet. That's all I have to say about that. I've been so sleep deprived lately. My dog has gotten into the habit of waking me up every night at 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, it's the worst thing. It's the worst thing. So sleep deprived. Hoping to get caught up this weekend. You know you're loud when you shut off the engine and the carport is still shaking. Drink more is not going to help. What up, Jerry? How you been, brother? Living in an apartment complex around a straight piped axle dump 4.6. The only way it could be better is if you left for work at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Ooh. Didn't pull the headlights. IATs went through the roof. Power steering is one of those things that you don't realize how much you love it until you go without it. Verdict idea for tuning the VVE zone by zone. Was it worth the effort? Yes. Especially, Jason, on more complicated setups that have issues with zone boundaries, it seems to work better. Just make sure that you get your zone boundaries set up to match your graphs, and make sure that you're setting up your actual boundaries in a way that makes sense. But it seems to help on the more complicated setups, where if you're going through and you're doing VVE and you can't get it sorted out in like 15 to 20 logs, and that's normally what I shoot for on VVE, is like at least 15, because it gives you a better idea of where your peaks and valleys are going to be and if you need to make zone adjustments. And then after making zone adjustments, if you're still fighting some weird shapes, then maybe switching over to the zone by zone tuning is worth it. But I'll be honest, out of all the 4th and 5th gen stuff that I've done with VVE, I've only had to do it on about 2 other vehicles besides mine. Leave at 5:30. There you go. What up, Danny? Good question on that. If you're running low boost 6 to 9 PSI on a 5.3, would it benefit going to a 2-bar map and no map? Well, no, I mean, yeah, you got to go to a 2-bar because you're running boost. 1 bar is just atmospheric, so you have to have a 2-bar map. Mass airflow, though, the only reason that people go no map is because on the 3rd gen stuff, you run out of resolution too quick. Big can going through drive-through on E85. Everybody loves the smell. Burning the eyes. IET's on the turbo TBSS didn't get over 130 with the headlight out. Now he's going to drill a hole in the stock passenger headlight and stick a tube in get the cold air to the turbo. Oh, there you go. Oh, no. No, that's how many I've had to do zone by zone tuning. How many I've had to change zone boundaries on is probably about, I don't know, maybe 20% of all VVE based platforms. So 1 in 5 generally seems to be where it's at, that they won't fall in line because of a weird zone boundary. And that's not accounting changing zones for naturally aspirated going to boosted. You know, you're obviously going to change zone boundaries on that. So, but on after even doing that, whether or not you have to go back and rezone is a different question. So, and I've come to find out this 4th gen OS patch that removes the VVE, I just don't know if it's really worth a damn. I think the VVE may be easier to tune than that, because that thing, there's something going on in the background on that, it seems like. Just doesn't work. Can I put a bag of ice in my cold air intake box? You can. You want to cool down that air intake charge, man? Shoot some nitrous in there. That'll cool it way down. Trans brake launch on 20 psi. You'll be leaving some parts behind. What up, Brad? How you been? Where you been, brother? Ain't seen you in a month of Sundays. Has anyone installed the Sloppy Mechanics Best Cam yet? Well, I have not. I've never installed the Sloppy Mechanics Cam. Nothing against them whatsoever. Just, I like my cam motion cams. Busy at work. I don't buy it for a second. Busy at work. Don't come in here telling your lies. Be truthful. 7 psi on launch. Yeah, should be all right. Well, leave it to Richard Holdner. Of course, Richard Holdner did. What up, Mike? Car's almost all back together with built motor. Decided to go with a much bigger fuel system in 1050X. So ready to see what this thing does. Well, you should have plenty of injector now, Mike. Make sure and let me know which ones that you went with. Did you go with Snake Eater or what? I like BTR stuff too. I like calling the guys at BTR and talking to them. They're one of the easier ones to pick up the phone, and seems like talking to them is good. Yeah, is there a cam that Richard hasn't installed? The better question is there a cam that Richard hasn't spec'd and had built yet? Thinking of doing water methanol injection on my deuce and a half. I didn't even know you had a deuce and a half. Why is this just coming to light now? Would be a good idea to set up VVE zones in a better way, even if not going to tune it zone by zone. I mean, sometimes, Jason, you just have to set up the zones differently. And you'll notice it if you're starting to get an area that is peaking or valleying, and it won't go away because every time it calculates, it breaks the zone technically. Always a trade-off. Always a trade-off. Injector dynamics. Okay. Sounds good, Mike. I haven't watched a Holdner video in a while. There's just so information dense. I actually haven't watched any YouTube in a while, to be honest. Damn mathematics. Been too busy. It's been busy. Oh, sweet. Got a nitrous purge out of nowhere from Jake H. Thank you, sir. I'm upgrading from an LS1 to an LS3 with P59 ECU. Can I just change flat response in HP Tours to get the LS3 NOx sensors to work? Yeah, as far as the NOx sensors go, just go with a... Honestly, I would... That's a good question. Because you're going from a one wire to a 2-wire NOx sensor, but you should be able to just ground one side of it. I'm trying to remember. There should be information on that out there, Jake, because the fundamental operation of the NOx sensor is the same regardless. But like the 1-wire sensors, I think just grounded through the bolt, and then the 2-wire sensor had a ground that tied back to the ECU to try and clean up the signal a little bit. But as far as the response, I don't know. Let me look at that. You ask a good question, and you ask a smart question that most people would not ask. Let's look. Let me see what I got here. Let's see what we got. That's a P01. Should be close enough. I don't know that you necessarily have to change the response to flat. You should be able to just leave it as is, but test it. pull it up, see what happens. Rider for Life. How would you inspect a tune that melted number 7 piston? I put a new motor in and the tune seems okay, but it's a little lean cruising. Had to take 3 degrees to stop knock on low boost. Short terms and long term fuel is still off. I mean, it's less about inspecting the tune and more about getting a log and seeing what the log's doing on that rider, because it's going to be, if you're showing that you're going to be lean in your short terms and long terms whenever you're in closed loop, that's a great indication that you're going to be even more lean going into open loop where you don't have that control out there. So, and then of course it would depend on how much total timing was running. There's a lot of stuff going on that could cause that kind of situation. Any tips from converting my Gen 4 E38 from manual to auto? What are you putting in there, Andrew? Why are you losing your mind? When the DOD lifters crap the bread, I will... Oh, gotcha. You're talking about truck noise. I have so much to ask. I really don't want to seem stupid. Nobody's ever going to sound stupid. Ask questions. Yeah, Crowder, that's what the Patreon's for, man. Jump down to go to the website, goatropegarage.com, and check out the Patreon. Sign up there. You're going to ask all the questions. There are no stupid questions. Or you can ask them in here. As I said, there are no stupid questions. That's the thing about this group, is that there is no stupid questions. There's no judgment here. T56 to a 6L80. I mean, you're going to have to find a OS that has an automatic on it, Andrew. Kind of like the backwards operation of where I found an OS with a manual to burn in on the truck. Jake, yeah, you should be able to use a hammer on the block to see if the VCM scanner sees it. I mean, you don't even need a hammer. You could probably take a wrench and just tap it on the block, because it's going to be a higher frequency that it picks up. But if it is overly active, even at idle, it'll pick up noise, because any kind of combustion noise and stuff like that can be picked up if it's overactive. But you want to make sure that it's working before you go out there and put trust into it, especially if you're running on boost. Turbo versus LSA blower in a truck primarily used for towing. LSA blower all day. This thing's way more torque. New to tuning here. When we say using both the MAF and the MAP, what are we talking about? Is there a point in which the MAF isn't referenced and the VE takes over? Thought it was one or the other. Nope, you're always using both unless the MAF has failed. You're always using both, but it's weighted one way or the other. 99% of the time it's going to be weighted towards the mass airflow sensor, the manifold air pressure, or your SD table, your volumetric efficiency table. There's multiple names for it. Is really going to be whenever there's irregular airflow patterns or transient airflow, and it's going to put more weight towards your volumetric efficiency table. And so keep an eye out for that. There should be plenty of E38 platforms that have a 6L80 on it. Got the defouler, going to put them in when it warms up. Yeah, report back on that. Let us know if it works. Well, Crowder, show up on Thursdays. No, Andrew, you'll have to probably use the Tech Connect to write the OS into it. You'll have to find a VIN, because sometimes it's hard to find the exact matching OS, especially on the later generation stuff, because you're accessing some features there. But if you can find a VIN for a vehicle that has the E38 with a 6L80 from it, and then use that VIN and use a MPVI, or not an MPVI, but a MDI, and then write it in that way. Oh, sweet. We got another nitrous purge. Thank you so much, Anthony. We have got to update the nitrous purge. We don't even have that car anymore. I need to find the video of me shooting nitrous off in the garage and use that one, don't I? Somebody needs to email me and remind me to do that. Have my converter locked to never engage. Is that a bad idea for boost? I mean, no. It just builds heat. Yes, the OBD2 drive cycle is crazy. And if you mess one thing up, you're not going to clear all of your codes. Has anyone ran into low voltage on both knock sensors? I have no 4 Avalanche to replace both knock sensors and wiring harness with GM parts is still getting this code. Low voltage on both indicates that maybe you have a bad ground somewhere. Check your ground, Scott. Yes, the bottle purge. That was such a good one. If you're having an electric problem that you can't get figured out, it's going to end up coming back to the grounds. It's bitten me in the butt so many times, I can't even count them all. Like, and just random things. I've had ABS systems not work that are on the front left of the engine bay because a ground on the back right of the engine bay was not hooked up. So, like, you would be very surprised not having grounds will do. When in doubt, add more grounds. Yeah. What up, Super Slow? I need to find me a P1 blower for the Super Auto. Put boost back in it before I sell it. Right for life. Made watch your video making the EQ ratio graph. Mine's not filling in data. Blocks move around, but I'm not getting data. I'm guessing that you don't have a wideband rider. Error graphs require a wideband to work. Why do you recommend the blower over the turbo in the truck? I mean, if you're going to be towing, you want all that low-end torque that you get from the blower. You're going to get more top-end horsepower, but you're going to get a lot more torque with the blower. It's all about the torques. Yeah, buddy, yeah, buddy. Get a blower, slap back in the Super Auto, get the new seatbelts in. Did you know it costs $240 to ship seatbelts because of the explosive charges in them? Right for like, go over to Innovate's website. I think they make an adapter that you can use a serial input on the Innovates. I've got an Innovate sitting in the garage. I just haven't had any time to play with it. $240. I ordered these things almost 3 months ago. Because like an idiot, I decided to clean the garage out one day and thought I will never need these and accidentally threw them away. Do I need to reflash my P59 PCM while it's in the truck, or can I do it out of the truck using my MDI2? I heard that talks to using other modules. I heard that talks to other modules while it's being reflashed. P59 should be able to be bench flashed. Sometimes it takes more than one drive cycle, Schmidt. You know, MD, every junkyard that I look at around here doesn't have late model vehicles. Like, late model vehicles, for some reason, I don't know if they're just getting parted out and, you know, the parts sell so fast. It's no problem to find mid-90s and even early 2000 vehicles, but anything after 2010, I have searched all of the junkyards around here, and they just do not hit the junkyard. Yeah, exactly. The turbo's small enough to make torque. You're going to lose top end power. Oh, yeah, you're using the analog stuff. Well, crash cars, like scrap cars. You just don't find scrapped cars. Like, you can't go down to the junkyard like you used to. The internet has ruined junkyards. Because now, every single part that comes off a crash car is going for full-blown eBay retail, which is mind-boggling. Bottling, not boggling. I like to say mind-boggling. Well, thanks, Joe G. Easy on the smart, though. This is a collective mind. I'm a hive mind. All of my intelligence I suck out of 48 individual brains that are in this chat room. And just combine it all together. Exactly. Just like the board. We're collective. A collective of like-minded tuners. Ugh. My hat's a little bit tight. Getting too much hair. What up, Mr. Love? No specific topic, really. We were just talking about me getting the Super Auto ready to sell and make some room for another vehicle, and how I can't get seat belts to replace the ones that I accidentally threw away, and that cost a lot to ship the seat belts. 3 of the 4 pieces showed up, and then the 4th piece, they're like, do you want to just have us go ahead and send you these and you can reorder that? And I was like, no, I'm not going to pay $160 to ship a $60 seat belt. Yeah, used prices have gotten ridiculous. 2AZFE, I'm guessing that's a motor. Sounds like a Toyota motor. They want $1,800. Yeah, that's crazy. What's a good tuner for a stock 5.3? Terrell, that you are. Dive into it. Jason, the name Goat Rope Garage comes from my grandpa off the farm in Oklahoma. A goat rope is basically, it's kind of like herding cats. You probably heard of herding cats or a Charlie Foxtrot, things like that. That's just what a goat rope is on the farm. It's you know, it's like doing everything you possibly can and everything turns out wrong. So it fits very well for us. Got any hits on what's next? It'll be turbo. What's next will be turbo. I can tell you that much. That's all I'm going to tell you. Have you tuned a Tesla yet? Well, you just you turn up the battery? I don't know. What's a UR? I have no clue. 2 cops, 1 stall. Yeah, that would... well, no, but still. You need to go out and watch videos of goat roping. Like, we do things like back in the day as kids, you did mutton busting, where you rode, as kids, you'd ride sheep, goat roping, greased hog chase, greased hog catching, things like that. What up, DMC? Yeah, I got you. Yeah, you are. You're the best tuner. You are. Youre. You are. Is that going on right now, Schmidhead? Is there a Barrett Jackson going on this weekend? Correct, Steve Art, because he asked back to the 2012 Yukon 6.2, even with 2 cats, only 1 wideband. Yeah, you've got to have the wideband before the cats, but you can't control bank-to-bank fueling on that platform, so there's no reason to have widebands on both. As long as your narrow bands are tracking close. Oh, nothing bad about it. HP tuners, I guess. I don't know. There could be other software out there that's just as good. Oh, it's on FYI. It's not on Motor Trend? Oh, they do Meekum on Motor Trend, don't they? Not Barrett Jackson. Mr. Love! I'm about done with my VVE Tuning 11 Caddy ESC truck, Whipple, and a TSP cam. It's been sub 30 temp. Plan to run the VVE tuning again in July-ish for the HRPT this year. Your words have helped greatly. Awesome. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by the live show. You are tuners hot. There you go. If there is one bank that's leaner than the other, you put it in that one. Yes, Holly does have cylinder-to-cylinder tuning. But, I mean, how do you do cylinder-to-cylinder tuning without doing 8 EGTs or 8 widebands? What town in Oklahoma am I from? I'm from a small town called Ames, Ames, Oklahoma. Outside of, southwest of Enid, about 30 minutes, if you know where Enid, Oklahoma is at. Town of about 220 people. Yeah, throw some extra Duracells in the Tesla. Crank the voltage up, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Chasing that quarter horsepower. Not quite out to the panhandle. Lived in Adair. Okay. Adair, as you probably heard it called. Adair, Oklahoma. Adair. Just like we have a Miami, Oklahoma, also known as Miami. Ugh. Have to jerk the modem out of a Tesla to even try and hack into it. Keep them from shutting you down. Where are we talking about Teslas? This is the wrong place for us to be talking about Teslas. Change the subject. Let's talk about something that burns gasoline, ethanol, methanol. I pick up loads in Oklahoma, Ada, Oklahoma. I think I've dropped a load in Ada, Oklahoma. What are a good EGT? Super slow, that is such a subjective question. There's so many things going on for EGTs, but what you look for when you're tuning with EGTs, if you're doing bank-to-bank tuning with EGTs like I did on the Super Auto, is a cylinder that's running hotter than the rest. You know, look at your averages. Your averages should be within about 30 degrees of each other. And if they're running cooler than the averages, that one's getting too much fuel. If they're running hotter, it's not getting enough fuel. And so you can bump fueling up. Talking cement. Mercy. Yeah, I'm talking about cement too, DMC. We'll stick it to that. We'll stick to that. We'll stick to cement. We'll never fill as fast as it did right before the pistons melted, though. Yep. Exactly. I won't even say that. It never felt as fast as it did right until the point that it launched the drive shaft at 130 miles an hour. Dude, sound maker that emulates a V8 for Teslas. Nissan's used one EGT 900 to 1100 as norm. I can believe that. I mean, but you got to remember, as I said, it's all a combination of cylinder pressure and things like that that's going to determine EGT temperature. So if you're boosted, obviously your EGT temperatures are going to be higher. You know, it's temperature in is going to affect temperature out. There's a lot going on there, but as I said, balancing is where EGTs come in handy. It's where it's nice to have multiple EGTs to balance. Which reminds me, the Super Auto still has 8 EGTs installed. I just don't have the EGT controller in there anymore. Rebuild and pull 1 degree. Send it again. Cliffs back in the day peaked around 1450 at 40 PSI boost. I totally believe that. And that's not even that high. That's not bad. 1450, I've seen higher than that. 1450's hot, though, don't get me wrong. But I have seen higher than that. 1450, things are getting red. Oh, here we go. Here's Dad. Dad's giving us the full rundown. Kyle grew up in Ames, Oklahoma. Population 250. Population in Ames has been 250 every census forever. Never changes. Every time a woman gets pregnant, a man leaves town. How'd you go getting the tray sorted? You mean the tranny? Rear axle. I think the rear axle needs dialed in. I think it's a little bit out of whack left cantilevered. Other than that, it's doing fine. It's actually doing better than it was beforehand. Boosted application. Would you tune closer to 11 or 11 and a half? No. Depends. Both of those are super rich. 11 and a half. 0.8 port injected. 0.82 direct injected. Maybe even leaner. Just depends. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that damage is still there, Andrew. I'm leaving that damage there. I'm not fixing anything other than make it run good. And I'm selling it no reserve on eBay. So if somebody buys the Super Auto for $20, congrats to them. Oh, it's got plenty of battle scars. Boosted 0.8. Yeah. Why do you need all that fuel for, man? I've ran over 10 PSI at 0.85 on direct injecteds. No problem. No knock, nothing. Skip Town Opal's pregnant. 67 GT40, only $205,000. That is dirt cheap. To keep it safe. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can run at risk to keep it safe. That was a live show, Andrew, and it wasn't a Thursday live show. That was a weekend live show, I think. If you find it, shoot me the link to it, and I'll cut it out and make a GIF out of it and throw it on here for the thing. I'm trying to remember when that was. It had to have been back in, like, October. Oh, speaking of which, we did get into the Rocky Mountain Race Week 1.0, so we're going back to Rocky Mountain Race Week this year. I keep on forgetting that. I keep on forgetting that we got into Rocky Mountain Race Week. So, hope to do a little better. Hope to make it all the way through Rocky Mountain Race Week this year. I don't know if we're going to take the Nova. If we get a new project car, we might take the new project car. Because it'll have AC. After last year, without AC, it was so brutal. It was so hot. So I kind of want to take something with AC. And I don't necessarily want to take the Z06 because I don't want to beat on it that hard. So, I don't know. The Nova's ready to go. I mean, it is 99.9% ready to go. Other than, I did put a gear vendors in the shopping cart. I think I talked about this last week. Did put a gear vendor in the shopping cart, and then I just never checked out. Yeah, that's the one thing I do want to get done is the split the two high-pressure fuel pumps to stage. And then I got a new radiator overflow tank because the other one had a hole in the top for venting, and whenever it would overheat, it would just shoot antifreeze in the driver's side window. Jerry, I have not ever done back pressure on turbo builds, so I cannot speak to a sensor gauge, but if you find out any information on one that people like, let me know. I would not be opposed to checking that out and doing something like that. Could be cool. SPA injector data. What do I do with the cranking adder if my data only has limit 2.75? Leave it as is. Don't worry. You can correct it in the tune. Woo. Yeah, stay cool that way, except you smell like water wetter. It's not the ideal way of cooling off, especially given that water is like 140 degrees whenever it's spraying in your face. What up, Matthew? I tried to say your first and last name at the same time, Matthew. And Danny's back. You guys are literally rolling in at 8:33, which means it is time for us to start wrapping up. No brewskis tonight. A, it's dry January, which means I only drink on Fridays. And B, I've just not been sleeping, so I'm just drinking a body armor to get rehydrated. You know, it's fine, Tommy, as long as it's not 104 degrees outside and you're in a car that just wants to overheat the whole way. You know, it's just miserable upon miserable. The coolest that we wore that entire trip was the 9 hours that we spent in the ditch. PE commanding 1.27 is too rich. It's pretty rich. 1.2 still going to be a little bit rich, but you're headed in the right direction. Yeah. Yeah, 1.2 is probably all right without pulling up a calculator and looking straight at. That's 0.8 lambda. So, 127 would be 0.83 or 0.73 or whatever. Way rich. There's 2 Fridays every week. I wish. You going to be on the Power Tour this year? No. No, I don't think we're going to be doing Hot Rod Power Tour this year. There's still so much going on in like people getting sick and crap like that I'm just really not into going out and getting into too many kind of situations because it's really bad up here in the Northeast. Yeah, I've got a C7Z06 mobile detailed doctor. Well, I'm glad to hear that, James. Go over the international date line. Exactly. Get heat rash on the feet. That's the thing, man. You can't seal those things up enough to not get some heat in there from the engine bay. Awesome. Yeah, you're really rich out on the top end on that MAF, but we'll get that sorted out really quick. It's looking better every time. Looking better every time. Yeah, you're right, super slow. It is time to wrap it up anyways. It is 8:36. We started 7 minutes early. We're going to end 7 minutes late. You guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by another live Thursday night. We're going to hopefully be doing the Nova dual pump controller from Snow Fuel, which is, Snow Performance has their new Snow Fuel line out there. Go out and check out their fuel rails and stuff like that. Cool stuff. And so we'll look at technically it is a 3-pump relay that has built-in fuses, relays, triggers, all that stuff. Pretty cool little module that we're going to be using to run the second fuel pump and the electric fans. So I need to get over there and get that done. And get the Super Auto back in the garage so we can get it ready to sell. Once we get that out of the garage, we'll replace it with something else and have some more fun. But you guys know the drill. I'll see you next Thursday for sure. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Remember, ABT, always be tuning.